My name is Alexa Meade. I am an artist out of California. My work is at the intersection of painting, photography, digital, and installation.
I'm Maddie Troy. I'm the Director of Communications for the Temple House and Serious Art Only. I am so thrilled to announce that Alexa Meade is a founding artist member or a member of the fam for Serious Art Only. That means that we dedicate our space, time, energy, and effort into elevating her work, understanding her story, and putting her work on a world stage. Alexa, it is so great to have you here. I can't believe that we are doing this finally. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I can't think of a better time than Art Basel to be able to really present artwork that is larger than life.
It's absolutely incredible. So we spoke on the phone a couple months ago, and we were hoping that the Temple House and Serious Art Only could do something for Basel with you. And we are able to, which is really, really incredible. And we were working together to get this all to happen. So it is a pleasure to sit down and talk about your process and how you make the work that you make, which caught my attention and has been pretty much on the front of my mind for months now. So I would love to hear a little bit about, as this process has taken place in your life, what has been a continuous thread for you maybe throughout this whole process and even into the digital space that we're going into now.
One of my favorite places to be in is the unknown. I like not being able to tell where my artwork is going next. I mean, there's always some new technology or development, whether it's NFTs or projection mapping, that can carry your art away into a completely different creative direction.
Right.
If I were to just sit and think, okay, 10 years from now, what do I want to do with my artwork? Well, I would not have necessarily anticipated the blockchain explosion or advancements in projection mapping technology as an avenue for it.
Amazing. So part of the reason that I was so drawn to your work is because of hearing your TED Talk and hearing you explain the way that you saw shadows, the way that you saw different perspectives in the world that we all live in, which is, I think, something that's so unique and needs to be spoken about more, because I think we all see things in ways that can be portrayed in artwork kind of to this exaggerated degree. And that's what you do with color and shadow and all of that. So I'm curious, when you take your process, right when you start, how does that work for you? Do you think of an idea, or do you think of a person because you're painting people? How does that work? I'd just love to hear that from you.
In my main body of artwork, I'll take a human, an entire installation space, and I'll cover it in a mask of paint that mimics the light and shadow as it falls in the space.
Wow.
And so by capturing light, shadow, gradient of tones, I'm able to make a 3D space appear two-dimensional.
Wow.
And I've realized through this exploration of light and shadow that there are so many interesting things that can be done with it that is just so untapped.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems very fundamental and obvious all around us. I mean, we see because of light, but what if you're manipulating light itself and the perception around it?
So my question is, when you walk into a space for the first time, what's your process? Is it, okay, where are the shadows falling? Is it an analysis? Is it a more analytical process? Or is it kind of like a free, intuitive process?
I definitely take note of the geometry of the space and how the light and shadows are falling along the contours of it. But a lot of it also is just standing there with the tools that I'm ready to start creating with.
Right.
If it's paint, it's just standing there holding a paintbrush.
Right.
I like to call it thinking with my hands. Mm-hmm. And that's the process of figuring out what I'm doing through just like throwing paint at it and physically manifesting it.
Absolutely. No, I think that's what interests me so much is like I'm a writer and I'm a talker, and I think that moment of suspension from reality in anything that's creative is what kind of drives it forward. So you've done this for so many years, you're in that flow that I'm interested, have you seen a change from when you first started to where you are now with the getting into the process, starting that flow with your work?
I think in earlier days in my career, I was a lot more self-conscious about, will this look good? Do I need to do a lot of pre-planning, masterminding everything out before I even put down a single mark? And now I'm a lot more comfortable with the process of just getting my hands dirty and working itself out through the artwork. When people see my art, they're oftentimes wondering, where did I learn to do this? Where did I go to art school? And as you noted, I didn't study art, I studied politics.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, so that was just so much a part of my life. And then as I was graduating from college with my degree in political science, I realized maybe politics isn't what I want to be doing with the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I felt completely lost, didn't know what to do. I didn't have skills in anything else. And I thought, you know, being an artist sounds kind of cool. I like making things.
Yeah.
Why don't I try this out? And thankfully, things turned out. I'm so thankful.
So I'm curious, as you've grown into a mature artist and as an adult in the world, how do you see that history of yours playing out in your artwork?
But I found that using my artwork, I'm also able to drive political change in ways that at times feel like it's perhaps more effective than working directly within the system.
Absolutely.
So for example, I did a collaborative short film called Color of Reality that was about police brutality. And that film ended up getting tens of millions of views.
Yeah.
It won numerous awards and is now being taught in high schools around the country.
Incredible.
In the civics course around the civil rights movements in the modern era.
Amazing.
And so it's amazing that through artwork, I'm able to still work on having that political impact and be constantly evolving and creating new things.
Amazing. Because it hits people in their heart and before they really even get to their brain. And I think that that's a really important part of social dynamics, not even just politics in general, just kind of getting to the heart of it and moving forward with that. It's beautiful. I think that art really can do major things for people's lives. So it's really great to hear you talk about that, because I know a lot of artists around the world will also see that as an inspiration to kind of keep creating, because our world is in such a time of need for that. I really do think that artists are doing something right now that we desperately need as people. So thank you for doing that and inspiring me personally. So that's just something that I really take seriously. I really also want to talk about the models themselves, because I think that they add, just the fact that you are painting on human beings and working with the human body, and then faces, individual faces say so much about emotions. And I'm curious, does your painting adapt with the model? Does the model influence the painting, and how does that work?
When I'm painting a portrait, I paint it physically on the person. So I take whatever the textures are of their skins, their wrinkles, and the way that light and shadow is falling on their face, and I use my brushstrokes to mimic that. So I'm creating a portrait of that person directly on top of themselves.
Amazing.
And then it ends up looking two-dimensional. But unlike painting on a two-dimensional canvas where I have a blank slate, there is a human being under there.
Yeah.
And so that really comes through in the final portrait.
So
I might paint someone with a certain expression or a certain idea in mind for this is how this painting should look at the end. But then during the photo shoot, you have the expression coming through in the eyes of the model, the micro expressions.
Yeah.
That their face will actually change the direction of my brushstrokes depending on how the muscles in their face are moving.
Absolutely.
And so it's really a dance between the model and the paintbrush and the art that the art that gets created is something that is beyond what I could do on a canvas. And just completely dynamic in this really surprising way for me.
It's incredible. When you go into doing that, is there a plan, or do you really look at this person and just start?
Sometimes I'll see somebody and I'll immediately know, like, I know what I want to do with you.
Wow.
I want to paint you like a traditional Renaissance painting,
Wow.
or I want to turn you into a piece of street art. And in those types of cases where when I see someone's face and it just hits me, I'll make that decision like, okay, I'm going to paint you and this is the concept.
Wow.
But there's other times where there's someone who just might generally inspire me that I would love to get to know their face through my paintbrush.
Right.
And in those types of situations, it just free flows and the painting will turn into something through the process of painting them.
Amazing. I love the ways that you can create. Again, so adaptive. That's such a strength, like to have that. And especially, again, I keep on bringing it back to right now, because we are in this time of moving into crypto, moving into this digital art space. And again, thinking on your feet and being able to be adaptive, because the art transforms. As people can see around us right now in the room, it transforms so well to light because of the strength of color. And has that been something that you've struggled with, or did you dive right in as far as transferring your stuff to digital? Was that a big deal for you?
In my main body of work, I'll create art installations that are enormous. For example, I had a show in New York City that was 14,000 square feet that was supposed to open right before the pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
Giant 20-foot canvases painted 10 feet tall.
Oh my God.
I know, it's so heartbreaking that no one got to see it.
Oh my gosh.
But it's so cool that with projection mapping, I'm able to take a concept for a show like that and just immediately deploy it, have it up and ready for people to come and see.
It's incredible. I can't even, honestly, putting myself in your shoes in that way, like the amount of labor that must go into creating something like that, first of all, it is a beautiful thing to see that all come to life, but to be able to take something that you have put so much work into and then show it anywhere, like anywhere in the world, that you want to be able to take it and move it. For someone like you who puts so much effort into each piece, I'm sure that's like this, you can take it and put it in a capsule and kind of bring it around the world with you, which is incredible. I love working here because we get to see the face of an artist, honestly, get to see their work in a completely new light, and it's so inspiring for me.
My artwork is at the intersection of so many different disciplines, and it's been something that's been really hard for galleries to figure out how to show or how to sell it in the traditional art market, because my canvases are live human beings.
Right.
So obviously you're not selling the painted person. But then is the final artistic piece that is available in collections, is that a photo print? Is that a video art piece? Is it a full installation? And so one thing that I really love about NFTs is it's allowing more mediums of art to be able to be in art collections.
Absolutely.
So before, I really could only make available photo prints.
Yeah.
And now I can have video art clips of my painted models, of the paintings come to life, be something that people can have represented in their collections.
Totally. And also, I imagine that people witnessing the painting itself is a big deal. Have you had many people like that? For me, the special factor that you have is seeing it kind of emerge. And I picture the way people would kind of really understand what you're doing is being able to capture that entire process. I see that being just super valuable for people, especially that are interested in almost like the physics and like the way that things are happening. So that's going to be amazing to see happen.
Absolutely. I do a lot of documentation of my process.
Yeah.
So having video and photos of the transformation going from a normal person to them being partially covered in paint to completely immersed in this three-dimensional painting that creates this very strong optical illusion.
It's amazing.
And being able to see that transformation over that period of time really adds another dimension to the artwork that is lacking when you just see a final photograph.
It's just it's so cool. I can't wait to see what layers go on top of this. Just this past couple of days being here in Miami, we have been able to work with you creatively as a partner to get this show going, which we are so thrilled to be able to say that we're partnering with you and doing this incredible installation. How has the collaboration process been as far as, you know, taking your work, transforming it, and then putting together this new type of collection?
And the collaboration with Temple House has been incredible. And first off, this space is gorgeous, and they have state-of-the-art technology, able to 360 projection map everything. And they've really brought my art to life in a completely different way, and in a highly dimensional way too, that I hadn't really previously envisioned so fully. And so I'm very thankful for you all inviting me in. I'm also thankful for the team here, whether it's you, Maddie, Dan, Ariel, everyone coming together to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, no, we feel the same way, and we truly couldn't be more excited. We are generally moving into the physical meets digital showing arena, which there's a lot to be said about what's going on as far as making sure that there is a meeting place physically in this digital art world, and there's a place where people can actually meet the artist, experience the artwork, and not forget about that human connection in the digital age. So a large part of what we're doing with Serious Art Only and with Temple House is these type of partnerships where we can truly work together and we don't forget that there is a real human element to creating artwork even in the digital world.
As I've been painting these installations over the years, I've been meticulously archiving everything, taking still photos of just every painted wall that I've ever done. And so now I have this library of all these images that are so well suited for the technology of projection mapping. And so it's so cool that I'm able to take my highly analog artwork and then bam, all of a sudden now it's completely digitized and able to adapt to this new medium.
Yeah, it opens you up to, this is really and truly my goal here is this can open you up to this new audience of people who can walk in and all of a sudden experience something that, like I've said, the process of watching you do something is so incredible that you have logged all of that. There's video footage. We can project videos in here. We can project videos around the entire room. So just bringing people into your process and connecting with them as a person, because for me, as like I've said, with watching your TED Talk and understanding your thought process, understanding how your life happened and how that impacted how your work happened, that's, for a viewer of artwork, it tells a story. And for me, and as a curator with Serious Art Only, the story, and as a writer, all of the levels of what means something as an individual to me, and I think a lot of others, is the story, is this person didn't just all of a sudden wake up and start creating this artwork. It really, really is about understanding how each layer comes on top of each other. And I think that one next layer for you, which is taking it into the light aspect, like you start with paint, you go to photo, and then you go to light. It's like, what's next? Are we gonna be, seriously, we're doing it in the air. It really is this time of creation for people, and it's just awesome. It's so exciting to be a part of it. So the word NFT is tossed around now like football all the time. And I've researched it now for the past year to understand all the angles that we're coming at it from a business perspective. But I'm curious, if you were talking to a group of artists that have never heard the word before, how would you explain it to them in a way that would make them understand how it's valuable?
First, I want to say there's so much jargon in this space, in part because it's designed by people who are crypto native and they don't know how to speak to artists. So if you're an artist and you're confused, it's okay, it's still early days in the technology.
Exactly.
But just a little brief explainer. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. You don't actually have to know what those words mean. But essentially it allows for a piece of artwork to be put on a blockchain and have a verifiable record of its existence, its authorship, it being time-stamped, and it creates the ability to have something that can then be bought and sold on a blockchain and have it be verified. And I think it's so exciting that NFTs are opening up a whole market for these alternate forms of art to be able to be out there and appreciated in art collections.
Yes, and collected by people that maybe wouldn't have collected it. And that's another thing, is like, we've had a situation in the art world, as you've known for a very long time, I think, that has been closed off. I'm curious how you feel about that.
I have so many gripes with the traditional fine art world, and part of how they maintain the value of the art is creating this aura of exclusivity of like, oh, you don't get it? Well, you're not our target collector base, and so we don't care.
Right.
So that the art that is now being elevated, well, the art previously that was being elevated in society is work that only speaks to a very small amount of people.
Right.
But art is for everyone. Everyone can enjoy and appreciate art. Art changes the world. It can be part of social movements.
Right.
And so now with NFTs, it's allowing so many more people to participate in the artistic process and collecting process and supporting artists who are actually doing the world-changing art.
Which is the really incredible part, as someone who really values artists and is one themselves, not visually, but the fact that the security aspect can come into play. Think about the trope of the starving artist, which really comes from a place that's real. I mean, there's no way without creating a very, very crazy ecosystem of buyers for yourself to sustain yourself with only artwork. This can open up doors for artists, and I've seen that from the beginning of, okay, so you don't just get paid for your one painting, you are tied to that one painting over time if it's an NFT. It's really a mind-blowing thing because people's tastes too that haven't been involved, people that weren't collecting artwork on a large scale, are now going to start being considered real and start being considered something that's worth listening to, because people, crowds of people, mass amounts of people, are very powerful. And that's a very interesting, it's just such an interesting thing to see happen to artwork, because artwork should be driven by communities. It should be driven by people.
Yeah, it's also cool too that the types of prices that artwork can sell for as NFTs, with most of the mechanism for sales being auction based.
Yeah.
Some artists are making a lot more money for a single piece of artwork than they thought their art was worth.
Absolutely.
Because there wasn't a way for price discovery that was convenient before. And now the artwork is actually going to the highest bidder, if it is an auction mechanic. What's also cool is that it's opening up a space for artists who aren't looking to sell work for millions of dollars, but maybe like $10, and for like very small amounts. And for that to be facilitated with blockchains is incredible, because now artists who want to be focusing on making art that's affordable to people have a way to do that.
Yeah.
Because previously galleries would not be interested.
Right.
They're not able to make enough money off of someone selling a $10 picture.
And
but I mean,
it's incredible, because it's the one industry that now is, money drives most things in this world, but it really shouldn't in this one arena, what people want to create. And it allows people to find the people that are already interested in a certain feeling and a certain aesthetic that are out there. It just takes everything and expands it. And that's what we are so inspired by. It caught our attention, and we started building a platform that was really geared toward artists, because the story and the way that people tell that online can be curated and thoughtful. And I think a lot of the time, because it's a mad rush right now to figure out NFTs, to figure out the right way to go about it, that the thought and the time and the energy into creating a partnership with the person that's selling your art and to understanding that is a little bit lost in the mix, because the amazing thing that's going on, which is giving all of the money to the artist rather than having people taking different aspects of it. So what our goal is, just like what we're doing here, is truly understanding the motivation, the ideas, the people that are involved in making an artist who they are, and then what their artwork is. Because we sometimes see artwork hanging somewhere, we notice a painting, and if we were aware of why that painting was made, if we were aware of who that person is, it would really open our mind. It would tell a story for us. And I think that that's what we want to do in the digital world.
What's cool too is that NFTs are actually allowing collectors to connect with artists.
Yes.
Because previously, artists wouldn't know who bought their artwork.
Right.
That's
a huge deal.
That transaction would previously go through an art gallery, and they would shield the collector's list from the artists, because they'd be afraid of artists selling directly from their studio to these people, because the gallery wants to take their 50%. So they have to make sure that there is a firewall between those two parties. Now with NFTs, oftentimes artists are able to see who is bidding on their artwork in real time. And that allows the two parties to actually find each other.
And connect.
Yes.
Incredible.
And have enriching relationships that go far beyond what was possible before.
That really is something that I haven't totally considered the impact of, because, I mean, just connecting with you, I'm a fan of your work. I am connected with it. It changes the way you appreciate the art in such a deep way, and the way that that natural communication happens within communities. Your collectors become the people that promote your work for you, because they truly love your work and they love you as a person. So it's funny that technology can sometimes make things more back to the way that they would have been, really, when people have complicated the process. You know, like the collector's list should, in my eyes, the artist should always know who has their work, because it's a part of who they are. And now we're able to make that happen, which really, from the artist perspective, really is valuable, because you can go back to that collector and say, look at what I've created, like, look at this new piece. And they wouldn't have never known that before. So wow, thanks for teaching me that.
I've already started to see too, work that I've put up for auction later be sold on the secondary market. And because there is this chain of custody with NFTs, I am getting royalties just immediately sent to my wallet. And it's like, what? Like 6 months later, and I have money that just came to me from nowhere. And
can you imagine what that does for artist confidence? That's something, like, on a personal level, like, to have work that gets rewarded over time is just such I think it just opens up so much for people, because that's never how, I mean, I'm just thinking of on a daily basis, not getting that feeling of reassurance. You're not working with a team of people that can tell you, you know what, this is incredible, but you get this kind of jolt to keep moving forward when you know that my work is being traded and I'm getting paid for it. And you were out in the dark for so long.
Well, it's exciting as an artist to be able to actually participate in the upside of
Right.
your artwork, because the point ideally in which people will pay the least amount from the artwork is at the first sale. They'll get it from the artist,
Right.
Hopefully it'll appreciate in value, they'll sell it again, hopefully it'll appreciate, they'll sell it again. And so everyone is making a profit on an ever more
Except the
valuable
artist.
piece of artwork over time, and yet the artwork receives the bottom barrel price at the very beginning.
Absolutely.
I should also say there's a lot of art that does not appreciate in value. There's some that you end up finding at a yard sale for $50 that someone bought for a lot of money. But in the chance of
appreciation, it's always on the secondary or tertiary, whatever sale that's going to happen. No, it really shifts, and I've said this before, and it really is true, and I keep on hearing it in my head. The power dynamic is changing. The power dynamic is changing. I just hear that in my head, and it's almost like a weird thing that I hear, because it's on almost all levels of society right now. We're experiencing that, and just figuring out the best way to make sure art keeps its value in this world is very interesting to me, because it's changing who is considered valuable, and I think it's just the beginning of that.
Yeah, I mean, going off of what you were just saying is that it's like so much of the art that we had ascribed so much societal value to in the digital art space actually is not performing as well. And it's making you realize that like maybe there's other voices that were incredibly valuable that just were not served in the traditional art market.
Right, because it didn't work for them. And
and that these things that were like put up for so long as like, oh, this is
Standard,
a sample for
right.
like what it means to be good artwork is just dramatically being flipped on its head.
It's incredible. It really is. So again, Alexa, this has been amazing learning more about your process, and we can't wait for tomorrow night.
Well, thank you. You know, I would actually love to learn more about the Temple House and some of the amazing things that you all are putting on here.
Yes, we are going to talk so much more about that, and we're also going to plan, which is something that we are announcing very, very soon, our Serious Art Only exclusive gallery, where we're going to have artist installations just like yours on a regular basis, where people can come and buy digital artwork. And through our Serious Art Only platform, we can create connections between very like-minded collectors, artists, and collaborate with them. So this is just the beginning of, I think, of a very cool relationship that will continue.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.